Two former WWE stars debut at TNA Hard to Kill. Jack Perry tears up his AEW contract and debuts for New Japan Pro Wrestling. Mustafa Ali is another person who debuted for New Japan Pro Wrestling, and ECW legend Sabu is set to retire in 2024. Hello and welcome to What Culture Wrestling, the solo Sunday news here. Myself, Andrew Pollard. I hope you're well. I hope you're good. I hope the new year is treating you as well as it possibly can. And let's get into some wrestling talk. And most importantly, first and foremost, let's get into talk of Nick Nemeth and Ash by Elegance debuting for TNA Wrestling. Yes, TNA last night held their Hard to Kill pay-per-view, which ushered in the rebranding, the rebranding, I guess, of Impact Wrestling to TNA Wrestling. And as part of that, there was a tease that there was going to be a major arrival, a major new signing. The first one that turned up was Ash by Elegance, who you may also know as Dana Brooke. Yes, there was a tease earlier on of there was a mystery lady in a black limousine, and then when the knockouts title match between Jordan Grace challenging Trinity, when that match took place, there we get introduced to Ash by Elegance, the former Dana Brooke. So Dana Brooke is in the Impact Zone, the TNA Zone, whatever zone it is. She's there, and she's now Ash by Elegance. Ashley is her real name, so it's a play on that. Now, Trinity did lose the knockouts title, which I believe was her first loss in TNA, to Jordan Grace. Amidst all those rumors that Trinity, as in the former Naomi, is on the cusp of return to WWE, so we'll have to see how that goes. But yes, for now, Ash by Elegance, the former Dana Brooke, is in TNA Wrestling, as is Nick Nemeth, the former Dolph Ziggler. Yes, now this was the big one at the end of the pay-per-view, the end of Hard to Kill. The main event there was Moose challenging Alex Shelley for the Impact, well, the TNA World title, sorry, my bad, I'm getting used to this still. And Moose won. Moose is your new TNA World Champion. And then after the match, this music hits, the Titantron pops up, the video plays, and it's Nick Nemeth on the screen there. Well, his name anyway, at least. And then you have, there was the system are all kind of like looking like, where's he coming from? What's he going to do? What's going to happen? And then Nick Nemeth came from the crowd, hit a super kick and a zigzag on Moose. Went off into the crowd again, tore his shirt off, kind of Hulk Hogan style, brother. And underneath, he had a TNA Wrestling logo t-shirt. Yes, so Nick Nemeth looks like he may have signed for TNA, possibly, or at least he's going to be working some shots for them. And his first match has actually been announced that will be taking place today, the tapings today, against Zachary Wentz of the Rascals. Formerly known as Nash Carter in NXT. There's lots of formerly knowns today. So yes, this is a big shot in the arm for TNA. I think Dana Brooke, Ash by Elegance, as we will now be calling her, came on leaps and bounds those last couple of years in WWE. She just always put in the work, always put in the effort. And as for Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler, just an absolutely great in-ring worker, a great promo. And this is really, it's going to be interesting to see what he can do away from WWE, because this is somebody that came through the WWE system, as did Dana Brooke, as did Ash by Elegance, as we will call her. So it's, with the former Mr. Ziggles, the show-off, I'm intrigued to see what's next for him. Obviously, he's clearly gone in straight to the main event of TNA. Looks like he will be doing battle with Moose at some point over that TNA World title. And of course, we have that I was going to say Dolph Ziggler, but Nick Nemeth as well appeared for New Japan Pro Wrestling at Wrestle Kingdom just the other weekend to set up something with David Finlay. So yeah, it's an interesting one to keep an eye on with Nick Nemeth. I'm looking forward to seeing what this dude is going to do. And also in terms of looking forward to seeing what this dude is going to do is Jack Perry. Jack Perry has resurfaced. Yes, this is a Jack Perry who we have not seen since August. And that was, of course, at All In or Brawl In, whatever you want to call it, where he cried, CM Punk was told to cry me a river, this real glass, all that jazz. There's a brawl backstage. Jack Perry's suspended or whatever, put out to pasture for a little bit. CM Punk ultimately leaves the company as a result of this altercation. But yes, Jack Perry has reared his head in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Yes, Battle in the Valley, which took place last night. Jack Perry appeared out of the blue. Jack Perry, who had almost the kind of latter years Jim Morrison look going on with as in he'd grown out his beard, full beard. He wasn't going full on Jim Morrison, but yeah, he'd grown out his beard. His hair's obviously massive, and yeah, he came out the crowd in a mask. This masked man came out and attacked Shota Umino, took the mask off. It is Jack Perry, who then pulled out an AEW contract and ripped it up and then put on an armband that said scapegoat. So yes, this is what's next with Jack Perry, and this is something to keep an eye on, because yeah, the scapegoat thing is certainly something. New Japan Pro Wrestling for Jack Perry is certainly something. And a New Japan Pro Wrestling match against Shota Umino, that could well be something. It's something that I've got my eye on. There's lots of something. There's Jake something. That's TNA. Just throwing it in there just because because it's a Sunday morning and I've had too much coffee. But somebody else who also made their presence known for New Japan Pro Wrestling at Battle in the Valley is Mustafa Ali. He wasn't there in person, but there was a vignette played where basically Mustafa Ali has thrown down the challenge, which has been made official now, for Hiromu Takahashi at Windy City Riot in April. It was if you've been keeping up with Ali on socials, he's doing a campaign, I guess is what it's being called as, where he's just campaigning to bring his talents to pretty much any promotion around the world. Obviously, he returned to the ring after being released by WWE in September. He returned earlier this month, competing in Paris, was in action for GCW on Friday. And yes, he appeared at New Japan Pro Wrestling Battle in the Valley via video to lay out the challenge to Hiromu, which has since been made official. So that's another one to look for. It's just like a fun time right now, isn't it? I mean, it's maybe I'm too positive, but it's like, and I'm sure there'll be lots of comments moaning and blah 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 blah. And it's a weird industry at the moment with weird fandom where people hate on way too much, but it's a fun time. You've got someone like Mustafa Ali turning up in New Japan Pro Wrestling, Jack Perry turning up in New Japan Pro Wrestling, the former Dana Brooke and Dolph Ziggler turning up in TNA, CM Punk is back in WWE. There's just lots of fun things going on. There's the rumblings, rumors about what's going to happen with Mercedes, what's going to happen with Camille, what's going to happen with Julia. You got Alex Hammerstone turning up for TNA. It's like it's a fun old time. Let's embrace it. Let's be maybe I'm too positive for Sunday, so I will be quiet and move on to the next story we have, which is Sabu. Yes, Sabu, the homicidal, suicidal, genocidal, death-defying maniac, is set to retire this year. Now, he's kind of been retired already, but he's came out now during an appearance on Stories with Briscoe and Bradshaw, that podcast, to say that, yeah, his aim is to properly retire later this year, possibly in July, and probably, seemingly against Rob Van Dam. Yeah, and Rob Van Dam has kind of muted the idea of, let's do a barbed wire match. And Sabu's kind of quietly shut that down and just said he wants to have a wrestling match. Because obviously a barbed wire match would be a gimmick match. As Sabu put it, the gimmick of this, the selling point of this match, is that it's his last match. So you don't really need another gimmick on top of it, a hat on a hat sort of thing. So yes, Sabu is looking to wind things down properly, formally. This is somebody whose career probably dates back before a lot longer than people may realize, because Sabu kind of broke through in 1984, and he wrestled for Big Time Wrestling, which is the promotion run by his uncle, the Sheik. He performed for FMW. He performed for USWA in Memphis. Then he'd arrive in what was then Eastern Championship Wrestling in 1993. Big shout out to ECW, because I'm in the process at the moment of working my way through all the hardcore TVs. I'm going to rewatch those. I'm up to about mid 1996 at the moment, so it's getting good. It's getting really good right now. So yes, Sabu, of course, arrived in 1993 in Eastern Championship Wrestling. Soon started feuding with a fella known as the Tasmaniac, who those two would go on to be kind of career rivals, I guess you could say. The Tasmaniac, of course, becoming just Taz. So this is somebody that he grew as Eastern Championship Wrestling became ECW, as in Extreme Championship Wrestling, and Sabu fit that mold of what ECW wanted to be. He fit that like a glove, bringing the hardcore style that rarely had been seen. Sabu, literally, the nickname is there, the homicidal, suicidal, genocidal, death-defying maniac, absolutely sums up Sabu pitch perfect. He'd also compete for WCW, had a little stint there, New Japan, All Japan, TNA, popped up in AEW last year, really randomly and pretty pointless, to be honest, where it's like Adam Cole's bringing in Sabu, okay, and Sabu's just going to fall off the top rope through a table, and that's it. But anyway, he got to tick off the AEW list as well as being part of WWE's relaunch of ECW back in 2006. Did that happen? I tried to block that out because, it wasn't so great. There's me talking about 1996 ECW and how great that's getting. Yeah, that WWE ECW relaunch, not quite as good. So yes, Sabu is calling it a day this year, and what a career! Two-time ECW World Champion. And I think if you are going to end Sabu's career, what better way to do it than against Rob Van Dam, somebody who Sabu had many wars with and also tag teamed with over the years. So yeah, that's a cool one. Again, something fun to keep an eye on. Wrestling's fun. Let's be fun. Let's be happy. No, I know I'm being way too positive. It's my first Solo Sunday news back after the new year, so allow me to be positive for once. Right, question time. Yes, Hector Garcia III has got in touch. Hey, Hector. where are we? All is right on Sundays again. If this is right, then hey, I'm all here for it. Had the pandemic not hit and Roman would have faced Goldberg, that'll be at WrestleMania. Do we know if the Tribal Chief character was planned to begin at WrestleMania with that matchup, or did it manifest during Roman's absence? I don't know if it's been kind of put out there as in a definitive answer on this one, but for me, looking from the outside in, I'd say that absolutely not. That was not planned. It was just a case of when Roman's absence happened, of course, Roman stepping back once the world went to the dogs with the COVID-19 pandemic and Roman being compromised his health, and he chose to step away. And more power to him for that, right? So you got to take care of your health first and foremost, and your family. So yeah, I think that once Roman did that, and was off TV for however long it was, I think it was just during that time where it's like maybe they just kind of the cogs started turning. Like, well, when we bring him back, why don't we do something different? So I don't think that plan was in motion before he took that absence. I don't think that plan was in motion when he was set to face Goldberg at WrestleMania. Of course, that spot would go to Braun Strowman against Big Bill, the man, in the end. So yeah, I think it was just something that came together during Roman's absence, and it was great. And it was it was a really grim time in the world. It was a really grim time in professional wrestling because you had all these empty arenas. But one of the big positives to come out of it in a wrestling sense was the Tribal Chief was the head of the table, because that character was allowed to flourish in the empty arenas, because it was a Roman Reigns that was a lot more, some would say plodding, some would say methodical. That character, and he still does to this day, he takes a more slow approach to things. And it was a trash talking, which was great during matches, because obviously with the empty arena, there's minimal noise, so you could hear everything he was saying, and it was great. And it gave him time during those awful days. It gave Roman time to kind of hone in on what that character would be and could be, and obviously he's been knocking out the park when he does turn up. That's the big caveat. So yes, I don't think the Tribal Chief was planned before Roman's absence, but obviously it worked out brilliantly for him and for us as fans, because yes, he's hardly here, but when he is here, he's really good. He's really, really good. Right, what else have we got here? Dustin Sentinel. Hello, Dustin. Oh my God, what a fantastic picture. As always, send me pictures. Send me pictures of your pets on a Sunday. Helps me get through my Sunday working day. And what a fantastic, beautiful dog we have there. So Dustin's got in touch with, I don't know who's doing the Solo Sunday news this week. That would be me. Yes, the brilliant Andy H. Murray filled in last week while I was on holiday to watch Wrexham. I say on holiday, I was on leave to watch Wrexham beat Shrewsbury in the FA Cup. Come on the town. Yes, I don't know who's doing the Solo Sunday news this week. Who's your favorite heel and least favorite baby face? Ooh, that's quite the question. My favorite heel would be Evil. Joking. Yeah, just got all the jokes this morning on a Sunday. I mean, I mentioned him earlier. Moose is a great heel. But I think for me, Jimmy Uso is so entertaining as a heel, but it's like, I want to watch him. So it's not like, boo, I hate this guy. It's like, nah, this guy's entertaining. I want to watch this. I guess Samoa Joe, which he is entertaining and I want to watch him. But I don't think anybody in professional wrestling right now, or at least not many people, carry themselves as legitimately as Samoa Joe. Whether he's a babyface or a heel, he's just like, the dude has just been, he's been so good for so long. And you look at it and you're thinking, with WWE, what a missed opportunity. Just like, really? You passed up on this? You fired him twice. You brought him back just to fire him again. I still, to this day, I mean, I'm sure we all do this, where you go back and you watch certain promos over and over again, or certain interactions over and over again. Brock Lesnar, Samoa Joe, that stuff is just like, yeah, man. Yeah, but so for me, I think my favorite heel in the business right now would be Samoa Joe, the AEW World Champion. And what was the other part of the question? Oh, least favorite babyface. Oof. I mean, she's injured at the moment, so I can't really say her as the answer. But Charlotte Flair, I never take as a babyface. She's a natural heel. Who else? The Miz is a strange one to take as a babyface, but people seem to be getting really behind him at the moment. So hey, more power to him. Now this might get me some bother, but I always think the Young Bucks are just the absolute worst baby faces imaginable. They're just such annoying pricks. I mean that half jokingly, as in like, yeah, no, they are. But yeah, I think that the Young Bucks make for really, really crap baby faces. I can't. Obviously now they're on that heel turn that they're doing because hey, they've had a shave and got little mustaches. If I turn up next Sunday, the next Solo Sunday News with a mustache, clearly I've turned heel. So I think that the Young Bucks are just awful baby faces. But I think, God, Chris Jericho is somebody who actually, I'm just gonna reach over here. I'm gonna knock all this stuff over, but yeah, big Chris Jericho fan. This guy, I'm a huge Jericho fan. In fact, there's more Jericho. Big Jericho fan, huge Chris Jericho fan. One of the all-time modern greats, should we say? One of my favorite wrestlers of all time. But just like, nah, this is not it. Chris Jericho's a babyface these days. I just no. And obviously you've got the stuff that's going on with Jericho, or it maybe isn't going on with Jericho. Who knows? But I don't take Chris Jericho as a babyface these days. The fact that your babyface, your former world champion, top babyface, had to have his music played throughout a beatdown so that it drowned out the boos. That's not great. So there's a few options there. If she's active, I'd say Charlotte. I just think Charlotte is an amazing heel. She's fantastic. It's not to say she's a bad worker. It's not to say she's a bad promo. Just some people are better as heels. Charlotte Flair is that. So Charlotte Flair is a babyface, not for me. One last question. Where are we here? Let's have a little nose. Damien OD has got in touch. Hey, Damien. If AEW is going to bring in super factions in 2024, I'm all in for the faction of best friends and friends. Please. Actually, I guess that's not really a question. But yeah, super factions. Yeah, it's... I mean, when people think of factions, of faction warfare, they think back to the Monday Night Wars, to the Attitude Era, and there was a lot going on then. There was just like... Everybody was in some form of faction, it felt like, whether it was the Heart Foundation, which obviously was the greatest faction of all time, whether it was DX, whether it was the Nation and Domination, whether it was the Corporation, whether it was the Ministry, whether it was the Corporate Ministry, whether it was the McMahon-Helmsley regime, whether it was the one I forgot the name of totally, that was like Ken Shamrock, Mick Foley, Big Show, and somebody else. Bossman, maybe? Oh my God, what was that called? That was really brief. Whether it was the Mean Street Posse with Shane McMahon, that like everybody was in a faction, it felt like at that point in time. Everybody apart from Austin. Austin was just like, again, that's his whole character, was just like the lone wolf, the badass Texan who just hasn't, DTA, don't trust anybody. So yeah, factions, when people think of factions, they think of the Attitude Era, or even obviously you look in the WCW, and it was all over the place. There was the NWO, there was the NWO Wolfpack, there was Black and White, there was NWO 2000, there was other NWOs, there was the LWO, there was the Natural Born Thrillers. There was a lot going on in WCW as well with factions. Shout out to the Young Dragons. Oh yes, the greatest faction of all time there in WCW. But yes, no. So factions with me. I can take or leave them, to be honest. They can be great, they can not be great. It's just, give me good professional wrestling. If it involves factions, great. If it doesn't involve factions, I'm just as good. But yeah, there is a lot going on right now, especially looking at AEW. As you talked about there, Damien, Undisputed Kingdom, I guess the Young Bucks and Brandon Cutler and whatever's going on there, that's developing as the Don Callis family. There is the ever-expanding Best Friends, where you've got kind of Danhausen involved, Hook's kind of there as well, Chris Statlander, obviously Chucky T, Trent Barretta, Orange Cassidy, the House of Black, that's sort of kind of added Sky Blue to the mix as well. So yeah, there's a lot of factions going on, and obviously WWE as well. It's got a few factions going on right now as well. So yeah, it's the same as anything for me in professional wrestling. If it's good, I'll appreciate it. If it's not good, I won't appreciate it. So yes, hopefully that answers your question. Thank you for sticking with us on the Solo Sunday News, the first Solo Sunday News back to me of the new year. So apologies if I'm way too caffeinated and just all over the place. There'll be another video here of people rambling about stuff. If you want to give that a click, I'll be back next weekend. You have a great rest of your day.